Good morning, everybody. We are continuing on with our Maamer, L'Sima Shekela, full devotion. We are currently on Ice Hay. We're on the 5th chapter, which is in this Maamer, in this printing, is page 40. Yesterday, we discussed, here we go, here's my diagram. Yesterday, we discussed the concept that it left us with a very good question, because the previous class before that we explained that when we do something in our world, it actually affects the kalim, the receptacle, so to speak, the each of the levels of Seder Shtalshus, or whichever levels of Seder Shtalshus, all the way up to the external or the bottom part of Keser, which is called Arich Ampin, and from Arich Ampin upwards, it's this level of Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof, which is a level of the Eibusher that is like untouched. There is no definition. It's infinite, and even saying the word infinite is like too much because there's like no definition of Hashem. So at that level, so being that it's so absolutely untouchable, so to speak, by us. So our avodah doesn't actually affect over there. That's what we said 2 classes ago. Then yesterday we actually spoke about how if we take a look at Pasha Pshat, at the simple translation, simple wording of our pasuk, the pasuk on which our Maamer is based, it says that, we explained from the Ramban, from the introduction on his commentary on Torah, the Ramban explained that the whole Torah is written from a third-person narrator, right? So it's not I spoke to Moshe, meaning Hashem spoke to Moshe, meaning as if he's saying I. It's also not Moshe's writing it. Moshe isn't the one saying, and Hashem spoke to me. So therefore, there's a third-person narrator who is actually narrating, and we understand that third person, it's Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof. That's what we came out with. Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof, the essence of the Eibusher, is telling a story about what the Havaya, the level of Havaya, which, so to speak, is representative by Seder Shtalshus. So what the level of Havaya is doing when she talks to Moshe in our world, right? So when doing that, when we understand that, then we're able to understand the pasuk. And then it brings us even to a deeper question, which is, at a certain part of the pasuk in our psukim, at a certain part it says, and you, meaning us in the world, shall serve Havaya, your God, and he, meaning Havaya, shall bless you. So this is a wonderful, Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof is talking about what's going to happen between Havaya and us. And when we do the right thing, then Havaya is going to bless us, right? And then there's a turn in the pasuk, in the wording of the pasuk, which is, and I will remove illness from your midst. The direct language of I means that the narrator himself is going to get involved with us, and he's going to give us a bracha, and he's going to come and remove illness from our midst. And then we're left off with like a whoa, wait a minute, what just happened? I thought we said that nothing we do, we don't really have a relationship with Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof. And meanwhile, Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof says, if you do the right thing, Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof, is going to come all the way down here and bench us directly. Which leaves us with a very, very good question of, what? We just thought we can't do anything, and now we're saying that Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof does get affected to whatever extent by our avodah, to the point that he himself is going to come down and bench us. Not come down. Again, we're not talking about physical locations, of course. We're talking, but he himself is going to get involved, and he's going to come bless us. Okay, so now that we have that background, we're going to, in this ice, we're going to hopefully understand a bit better what that actually means, how it is, why is it that there is this, how is it that we can actually affect Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof, and how that whole thing works. And not only that, but we're going to get into this concept of what does this actually mean in our avodah? What does this mean in my everyday life, and what does it mean for my life? Okay. Page 40, Ice Hay. So if anybody has a different printing, we're in the 5th chapter. Okay. It can be said that the teachings of our sages, quote, for what does the Holy One, blessed be He, care, end quote, refers to Avodah itself. In other words, the details of the service. However, the outcome of Avodah, which is performed in order for creation to be refined, that even a mere creation, and a lowly creation at that, becomes refined and elevated, is in effect the transformation of something into nothing, and does and has an effect on even the Atzmos of Mahos Ein Sof. So 1 second, what did we just say? We just said, because in the beginning, one of our psukim, we said, what does it matter? What does it matter to Hashem at such a level? What does it matter whether we cut, when they do shchita, whether they do shchita from the neck, or whether they do shchita, from the neck or from the back? What difference does it make to Hashem? So what we're saying is that, yes, in a certain sense, the actual details of how the mitzvah gets done does not affect Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof. It does affect Elokim, and it does affect Havaya, but it does not affect the upper level of Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof. But when that mitzvah is done properly, then we are actually affecting him, because we have made this keli to receive a bracha, so to speak, or we have changed, we have the outcome when it is done, and we become refined and elevated. It makes a transformation of something into nothing, and I'll explain that in a minute. And it does have an effect on the Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof. Let me see. Yeah, so we're going to read footnote 60. See, which, by the way, anything in Chassidus, the more you learn Chassidus, the more you know Chassidus. So, for example, here we're saying that there's a concept in a different Maamer that also would help us understand this better. So, where it is explained how, although the service of Hashem itself does not affect Atzmos, the outcome of serving Hashem, in other words, the refining of creation, is the fulfillment of Hashem's desire that is rooted in Atzmos, right? So Hashem desired us Hashem desired for us to be refined, and for us to refine the world and make a dir b'tachtayim, make a home that's welcoming for Hashem. And so therefore, when the home is welcoming for Hashem, and we do refine it, we do make him happy to a certain extent, right? So for example, let's say the CEO of a company, right? So he doesn't really care which cleaning products the cleaning lady uses to clean the toilet. He doesn't give a hoot. But once the toilet is cleaned, he is happy. He appreciates the fact that his company toilet is nice and clean. Does he care about the nitty-gritty? Does she wipe it in the clockwise direction or in the counterclockwise direction? He could care less. But once the toilet is cleaned, he is very, very happy. And it's able to help not just him, but it's able to help the flow of the entire company. Who wants to go to work in a place where the toilet is dirty? Lahavdil. But you know what I mean, okay? So too here. The Eibishter created us with a desire for a dir b'tachtayim. Does he care that we did it this way or that way, this way, that? At that level of Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof, and I'm not saying I'm not saying disregard halacha. Because if the halacha isn't done properly, then it's not going to create the end result. That's if she cleans the toilet with a bottle of paint, that's not going to create the same clean end result. Okay, so yes, regard halacha, but for him at that level, for the Eibishter at Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof, it doesn't make a difference. That said, once the result is done, once we've done our avodah and we do make an effect, wow, it does make an impact even at that level when where he desired it. Okay. Okay, we're gonna continue. Okay, page 42 on the top. Back to the regular text. It is regarding this that the pasuk states, "And you shall serve Havaya your God, and I will take illness away," referring specifically to Atzmos Mahos Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Okay, so now we're going to read footnote 61. Although the actual service of Hashem is the service of Havaya and does not have an impact on Atzmos, the outcome of serving Hashem, the fact that a mere creation has been refined and elevated through the service of Hashem, has an impact in some way, even on Atzmos. The pasuk therefore assures that when you serve Havaya, then Atzmos, not Havaya, will remove illness from you. Okay, so even though we technically have no way to affect Eibuster, but when we do serve Havaya, when we do the right thing here below, and even it affects Havaya, the Eibuster himself receives some sort of pleasure, and that level of the Eibuster is able to come or not come again. The Eibuster himself will remove illness from our midst. Okay, removing illness. That explains why the pasuk, "And I will remove illness from your midst," is different from an earlier pasuk. "I will put none of the diseases which I have brought upon the Egyptians upon you." The pasuk, "And I will put none of the diseases," connotes the possibility of disease and blessing, and the blessing is that the possibility will not be actualized. However, in the pasuk, "And I will remove illness," there is a greater novelty in that even when there's actual disease, not just potential for disease, the disease will be removed. In order to remove a disease that already actually exists, there is a need for an even greater force. This is the meaning of the pasuk, "And I will take away," speaking directly to the second person, since this refers to the Atzmos Hossein Seif Baruch Hu. Okay, so let's explain. What does that mean? Living with the times, a good example now. It is much harder to treat Chas v'Shalom, a patient that already has coronavirus, and you have to figure out how to treat them, whether it's Chas v'Shalom to the extent of, taking them to the hospital and dealing with it there. It's much harder to deal with that than it is to prevent from getting it. By all of us, whether it's staying home or, making sure to wear our masks, although whatever, I'm not going to get into controversial things, but by all of us doing our best to make sure not to get it to begin with, it's much easier to handle us who don't get it as opposed to handle the person that Chas v'Shalom does get it. So too here, the Eibuster Havaya comes and says, "I will make sure that you don't get it." Okay, that's in a certain sense, that's a simple thing. The Havaya can, so to speak, handle that. On the other hand, when it comes to somebody who Chas v'Shalom already has a disease, it takes the level of Atzmos Hossein Seif to come down, I keep saying that. It takes the level of Atzmos Hossein Seif to get involved in order to remove that illness, okay? So it's, in a certain sense, it's much harder, and therefore it takes a much bigger strength, which is the quintessence of the infinite, as we call it in English, to get involved in our world. Okay, so now we finished Ice Hay. What was the point of Ice Hay? That God doesn't care how you clean the house, so to speak, but he cares when the house is clean. So we do make an impact on Atzmos Hossein Seif because he's happy and he's satisfied, and we've created this concept of something from nothing, we've created this concept of, something into nothing, which is where I'll explain that a bit better further on in the Maamer. Okay. Now, what does this mean for us in Avodah? How does this make a difference? What does it mean for us in Avodah? Okay, Ice Vav, the 6th chapter, Kabbalah's Ol. The concept of Avodah, what does it mean, Avodah, just in case? It means working on ourselves to be connected to Hashem, working on ourselves to be better people, working on ourselves to be better Jews, okay? The concept of Avodah mentioned in the pasuk, "And you shall serve the Lord your God," is like the service of a servant. It primarily refers to serving with awe and Kabbalah's Ol, acceptance of the yoke of heaven that comprises the labor of a servant. So now we're gonna describe what Kabbalah's Ol is, and then we're gonna have a small farbrengen before this year ends about what that means in our lives. Okay, a servant shows no consideration for himself, and it is not an entity of his own. He is completely nullified to the will of the master. Although he would prefer to be free, he nevertheless constricts, and selflessly devotes himself to the master, and therefore performs and fulfills all of his master's wishes. Okay, so what does that mean? It means in our lives, it means that as much as we may not want to get up, and add a little bit extra time of our awake time and lose some sleep time in order to daven and learn, what do you mean? That's what is expected of me. That's what the Eibusher wants from me. And so if the Eibusher wants it, so therefore I should try my best to make it a reality, make it a true possibility to happen, right? So a servant, in a certain sense, realizes that he needs to do what he needs to do, and so therefore makes that a priority in his life. He makes it a priority to do the right thing, right? So for example, yesterday somebody was telling me about going to Whole Foods, and how it's a very intense entrance to get into Whole Foods, at least in New York. They have like X's 6 feet apart. You have to literally stand on the X. You have to put on your mask like way before you enter the store. It's a whole thing. And in a certain sense, it's like, why should I have to bother doing all these things? Let me just walk right through, pass the line, continue on to the next aisle, and like do whatever I want. But in a certain sense, whatever. It's the right thing to do at this point. That's what's been mandated, so to speak. So therefore, we have to do what's right. So too here. It's not, and we're going to discuss this in a bit, that it's not necessarily that we love every aspect of our Avodah, but in a certain sense, we realize that this is what Hashem wants. This is what's the right thing to do. This is what is expected of me. Not only that, but we have a greater appreciation later on, which is Kabbalah soul is just the bottom. Our lives should not always be on the bottom Kabbalah soul. Not bottom as in bad, but bottom is like the base. Kabbalah soul is the base. If we didn't have that base, we wouldn't rise up and continue on, building. But the reality is that if we don't think the Eibusher wants this from us, and we don't think that this is the right thing to do, and so therefore I'm doing it, then it doesn't really make a difference. It doesn't make a difference how much we learn. If we learn and learn and learn, but we don't actually do the mitzvah, like, what did we do, Okay. This is why the first and primary service of Hashem, the foundation of all Avodah, is the service of Kabbalah soul. Even when one has not yet transformed his natural self and retains his own wishes, perspectives, and feelings, not having developed an appreciation for the master's wishes, he nevertheless labors in his work with Kabbalah soul. Since when it comes to deed, performing a mitzvah by refraining from involvement in evil and by doing good deeds, a person cannot wait until he changes his essence. Then, even while still in his current state, he must go about his service of Hashem with Kabbalah soul. Okay, so let's say, back to our story of the cleaning lady in the office, right? So what if she has this idea that she wants to clean with a bottle of paint? Sorry, but then her boss comes and says, no, that's not how we clean. We clean with a bottle of cleaning supply. So is she going to have to go take a class and, figure out why it is wrong to clean with a bottle of paint? No. Her boss told her to clean with a cleaning supply. So therefore she should clean with a cleaning supply. Later on, as she's already cleaning, she'll be able to see, and hopefully she'll be able to appreciate it. And then hopefully she'll set the time to go and, do a bit of research why even though the paint is white and the toilet looks white, it doesn't accomplish the same thing as cleaning with a cleaning supply. Okay, so it's two separate levels. The base of our service needs to be Kabbalah soul. The Eibusher says we should do it. The Eibusher wants us to do this, therefore we do it. Oh, we want to understand. We want to be even more connected to other mitzvahs. We want to be even more connected to Hashem. We want to be even more connected and enjoy our Judaism. Then we must learn. We must grow our emotional bond. We have to work on our intellect. We have to work on the way we think about Hashem. We have to work on the way we think about a mitzvah. We have to work on it. Another example is, for example, when somebody has a baby. It's hard. It's definitely very hard, and it flips your life upside down. Suddenly you're not sleeping so much. Suddenly your body is not your own. You're nursing and you're doing all these things, changing diapers at like 4 a.m, and you're like, what do you mean? I'm the boss here. Baby's not the boss here. I'm the boss here. But the reality is that the Eibusher said it in such a way that the baby needs us to take care of him, even at 4 a.m. And even if that means he spat up all over your bed and you have to change your entire linens at 4 a.m, that's what we have to do. So are we going to go and say, no, you know what? I want to do it my way. Let him scream till 5 a.m, and then at 5 a.m, I'll wake up. It doesn't work. We have to have that level of Kabbalah soul. We have to have the level of this is the right thing to do. The Eibusher made it in such a way that the baby needs us for. So therefore, we have to give ourselves up and our desires up, so to speak, to do the right thing. That said, why is it? There's a famous joke that why is it that a baby starts smiling at around 6 weeks? Because by 6 weeks, we're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. And we can't live on Kabbalah soul alone. And then we start thinking, oh, he's so cute. Look at that cute little smile. And we have that emotional bond. We have that closeness, that relationship with the baby. And therefore it becomes, it's still hard, but it's bearable. Or it's still hard, but we appreciate and we enjoy bonding with our kid even at 4 a.m. Okay? Let me check the time. Okay. Okay, let's finish we have 2 minutes. Let's finish the last paragraph and we'll get to Oisvav. Oh, Zion, I mean. This is likewise the order of routine daily service. Okay, what does this mean on our day-to-day life? The service of the day begins with the recitation of Maida Ani, I offer thanks. And the service of the morning prayer begins with Haidu Hashem, offer praise to the Lord. Thus, before the appropriate contemplation while reciting Psuki de Zimra, the verses of praise, and before the contemplation while reciting the blessings of the Shema, and the actual recitation of the Shema, and Shema Nesra, the Amida, we recite Haidu Hashem, an acknowledgement that reflects the service of God in a manner of Kabbalah soul. So what are we saying? Davening, if you go and listen to the tips and tricks to success, because I spoke about this a bit, davening, if you take the time to really appreciate what are the levels of davening, the first thing we do is Maida'ani. Our hands don't have to be washed. We are literally in the most quote-unquote impure state. Our nefesh kiss is just, or the 60th or whatever, is just coming back. We're not really living with this concept of Hashem in our, we haven't thought about deep godly concepts. But at that point in time, we have to say, I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know if I'm upside down, if I'm, right side up. I don't know if it's morning or evening, but it's time to wake up now. So therefore, Maida'ani, the first thing I put in front of me is the Eibusher, is the acknowledgement that Hashem is before me. And it's one of the first halachas in Shulchan Aruch. When you wake up, you have to realize the Eibusher is right before you. And we have to turn on this Kabbalah soul aspect. Why am I here? Because the Eibusher wants me to be here. I am a servant of Hashem. Whether I understand it and I appreciate it, I don't yet. That said, as we build into our tefillas, right? We start waking up, we start getting dressed, we start opening our eyes, we start sitting up straight. All of this, if you go look at morning brachas, all of those get spoken about during morning brachas. You sit up straight, you get dressed, you put on your belt, and learn more about morning brachas, you'll see. Then what do? We get into Psuki de Zimra, or before Psuki de Zimra, we remind ourselves, 1 second, now I'm dressed, and now I've eaten breakfast, and I'm feeling more of a human being. Now, with all that said, Haidul Hashem Kitayv, right? Or Haidul Hashem. And we re-put ourselves in that position. Okay, again, now that I'm in a higher state, I'm more awake and I'm more prepared for the day. Again, Kabbalah soul, I need to realize that the Eibusher is before me and he wants me to do these things, so therefore I'll do it. Later on, as Sukkot de Zimra goes, we have an appreciation how the Eibusher creates the world, and he creates the mountains, he creates the sun and the moon and the stars, and then suddenly we start working on our appreciation for Hashem to the point that by Shema, we have this wow, bond. I want to be one with Hashem, right? And it's so beautiful. But that can only start when we have the base of Kabbalah soul. The base is Maida'ani, and the base is Haidu Hashem. Okay? Let's see. Beautiful. Okay. We just finished. Ais Vav. Kol hakavod, everybody. Thank you very much. And I hope your appreciation for the Eibusher grows and grows and grows. We don't just stay in Kabbalah soul, but at least hopefully this share gave you a taste of a bit of Kabbalah soul. And let's go do the will of the Eibusher. See you guys tomorrow. Mitzvah Shem.